Yo, what up, LinkedIn? So first and foremost, I apologize to my five followers that probably caught my video yesterday. I stated that I was going to jump on LinkedIn Live and talk about a little bit more about into GTZ Ship, our cloud-based TMS portal. Long story short, things got I had to attend to customers and some meetings were pushed regardless. But I did want to make a video, not just to make a video, but to shed light more on that video I was talking about yesterday. I spoke about, that how it's a ripple effect, basically a ripple effect when, the front end process is manual and there's really no business rules put in place, meaning using multiple different carriers, vendors, brokers, everybody and their mother. And then, on the back end side, that's also going to be pretty manual if there's no, any type of automation or consolidation when it comes into invoicing or, process put in place. So then I said, hey, the biggest challenge I see in all companies is literally having to, what they were quoted, they match what they were quoted versus what they were billed, making sure that those match up. What happens is, again, accounting will go through each individual invoice and then have to figure out, oh, dang, this GL code doesn't match up with what they were quoted. It's $100 off. There's no, I don't know why. It doesn't say why, even if it does say why. Back and forth with shipping. Shipping's got a call. Usually they end up just saying, hey, screw it. It's a loss. That was the recap from yesterday's video. Long story short, like I said, most companies eat it and say, hey, it's cost of doing business. Other companies won't pay, or our individuals won't pay the bill. Regardless, it's just a shit process and it sucks for everybody involved. Find the root of the cause and mitigate those chargebacks, if not eliminate them. Cool. Now I wanted to dive into GTZ Ship or a online portal when it comes into like a cloud-based TMS. So yeah, I mean, if you take a step back, if I was a shipper and, I observe a lot of times, brokers, 3PL salespeople, whatever, they all talk about, you got the heavy tech people that are talking about, basically, essentially, everybody needs this type of technology that NASA, you would go sell NASA, and it's the furthest from the truth, which sometimes I just sit back and I'm like, again, because I've only done strategic sales, in my entire career. I've never sold a transactional deal, maybe a couple cowboy deals where I wanted to rip a large RFP when I was younger or a bad fit. But, I was fortunate enough to, when I got into my career 8 years ago, I was taught the benefits of what a 3PL can provide, what challenges we can solve outside of a rate, right? What challenges we can solve, and really focusing on the impacts that the entire supply chain has on not only just multiple departments, but the entire organization and how it impacts financially the company if done poorly, right? Or if not done, certain things that are not put in place. So again, only knowing that in my entire career, I've had a lot of customers, whether that was starting out $50,000 a year in freight transportation, to my largest account to this date would have been, it was $18 million. I will tell you this, and everything in between, right? I've been in some of the craziest integrations at that time. I will tell you this, the stuff that I hear others talk about on like integration, what real like these challenges, like, how there's going to be flying people are going to be flying things around in the next in the next year. I mean, it's just, it makes me, I'm just thinking to myself, I've been in some pretty in-depth integrations and nothing was that crazy, right? And again, and that's not, and I will never downplay it, right? That $18 million company, that was probably the most, that was definitely the largest account I brought on, but even that integration wasn't that crazy. The craziest part about that was they were just implementing a new ERP. And if you've been in that situation or know what it's like to sit through that shit. I mean, I'm not the one selling the ERP. I was just like, I feel for you. But that was the most intense thing. So from an integration standpoint, or from what a lot of companies need, is not flying robots It's mainly just a go-to guy or girl from a sales standpoint that takes a more strategic approach about, the entire bulk or the entire business, and really solving or building out a tailored solution for that organization. Eliminating waste, obviously, capturing key cost drivers that are going to drive, that are going to really drive value inside that company, giving them ideas on how to, properly allocate cost to serve, just being a resource, right? And it's icing on the cake to be backed by a 3PL that has the technology, the resources, the overhead, and the volume, and scale with those carriers to provide competitive rates. That's a plus, but truly it's all about the rep and if they've been in that situation. It's funny because I always think about it. I know I still think I'm the dumbest one in the room, but starting in my career, there's a reason why I was able to go in and very minimal than I do even now about, the granular day-to-day stuff about logistics, right? We had people for that, but I was able to grasp, there's a lot of moving parts in the supply chain, operations piece, accounting piece. Every department is touching it some way, somehow, and it's impacting the company if done poorly or, if not done correctly, specifically to that company. I was able to grasp that a lot sooner, within the first 6 months of my career. So again, people want to talk about all these things that aren't controllable, never want to reach out to, executive leadership that are, looking to increase the bottom line and drive out costs and mitigate risk. And I was able to say, screw it, that's who I'm going to talk to. I'm going to go fight in my head, I was like, I'm going to go fight the fight for everybody in the company that doesn't want to have to deal with, getting everyone on board, getting the executive leadership on board. I'm going to solve some business challenges that, whether they knew they were having it or not, I'm going to bring it to their attention. I'm going to get everybody in the room, have a meeting of the minds, and really tailor out something that's going to, again, tailor specifically, not just to their needs, but to, most importantly, my customers' wants and needs, and then build a solution around that, which is going to has year over year in my 8 years built out scalable supply chains for companies, whether you did $50,000 a year or that $18 million a year. And none of them needed rocket fuel and, visibility into the depths of the ocean. As far as, I'm being silly right now, but that's all what I hear about. Most people, most companies just need a person to go to, need a girl to be a resource, need an oil change, need a few things that are going to automate their processes as we speak, because again, you don't need to automate everything just to automate everything. You still need people in there. You still need to know what the hell is going on. And that's the type of stuff that, I see as a huge gap and a huge challenge. And that's where, especially in the growth stage, emerging brands in general, specifically me, I focus on CPG. There's a huge gap in there. And I think it's just because we are on our end, we scared the shit out of people, and nobody, let's face it, I'm ADD and I sit back and I'm like, man, these people are like, our industry is yelling at each other, like solve some problems, right? If you're still going around in circles and circles and circles about a rate or heck, well, how do you think? No. If you're going around in circles, or if you're just bitching at each other, shipper, broker, all this, let's take a step back. We'll figure out what your customers' wants and needs are from all around in the company, and then go solve that if you can, and prove that you can go scale the supply chain. I'm telling you this right now. I've said it since I started. I'm biased, but that's all I've done is strategic sales, all-in sales, one-stop shop. I'm telling you, it's the wave of the future. There's just not enough people talking about it. And I'm just so happy to be lucky enough to be somewhat smart enough to get this shit, because again, you get really nerdy people and we need them, but I'm just lucky enough to be a little bit nerdy and a lot gregarious and salesy, right? So it's like, it's a blend of both, but there needs to be more partnership selling, more strategic selling, enterprise selling, managed trans selling, you name it. But the gap is seriously with the emerging growth stage brands, especially CPG. That's my rant. I will talk to you on Friday and do the GTZ ship thing.